What is good, y'all? SGG Game, man. It's your boy SmooveGotGame. Finally here with the MLB The Show rebuild, man. I know you guys have been waiting and fiending for it. We did just finish up Madden recently. Took a little bit of a hiatus to get the game, get the series ready for you guys. So I hope you guys are ready for the greatness on the screen here as we finally have the team reveal off of what team we're going to rebuild. And I wanted to do a team that wasn't good last year, wasn't good during the spring training period, and that to me that fit the criteria list that I wanted to do was my Pittsburgh Pirates. Boy, we are doing the Pittsburgh Pirates this season. This time around, trying to rebuild them. They're one of the very few teams that had a under 500 record last season and finished the spring under 500 as well. That wasn't already in the same division that we just did with the Tigers. So I wanted to go ahead and check out this team, and you see they're almost, in the bottom 5 in every category except for I think it was speed, where they're ranked 6th. But yeah, that was my pre-qualifications that I looked for teams that I wanted to try to rebuild. Had a bad farm system, so we're gonna have to redo. This team's basically gonna be completely our own. Like, we're not gonna have a whole bunch of key pieces down in the minor leagues already that we're gonna have to rebuild. So it's gonna be a pretty long term one. It's probably gonna take us longer than the Tigers rebuild did, man. So if you guys enjoyed that series, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, show that love so we can bring more baseball fans to the channel. Now here we're getting obviously everything pre-set up, and this is something new. MLB 24 The Show, I can actually set up custom conditions on when to enter games for those key scenarios. So obviously I'm looking here. Obviously we don't want to have just be the ability to get in all 162 games. So setting kind of importance here for me. I want to get into at least here early. You can change this later in the series too as well. So at least here at the early beginning stages, I don't think we're in a situation of wanting to go high. We want to kind of get a lot of these games, be able to be done quickly. So 7th inning, the earliest we want to jump in, medium importance, so maybe not exactly high, and still enter in for those player highlight moments at around the 7th inning too as well, which will put us at 108 games that we could potentially play off of projection. So those are just different types of scenarios that I wanted to look at that would help us speed along here, because this is the early part of the series. We're not going to be focusing too much because this team is not even going to look the same probably next season. Year 2 definitely won't. A lot of these guys might end up being gone, replaced. So we don't want to, develop too much emotional attachment to these guys here early. But I do want to do a better job of telling the story of these players, getting you guys emotionally attached like I be emotionally attached, and really building a fun-loving series here for us to be involved with. So to do that, let's start out with meeting the roster. A couple of our key guys, maybe guys that we can keep in the future. Some of our highly touted players here, Brian Reynolds, 83 overall outfielder, who is coming off a decent season last year, 3 straight years of 20+ home runs, hitting about 300 at first and then about 260. After that, he's probably got like 2-3 more years in his prime. We also got David Bednar, a great closer, Mitch Keller as our starting pitcher, right now looking like our ace at 28 years old. Could be with the team for a couple of years, but probably by the time we're ready to make a playoff run, be the tail end of his career most likely. Last year coming off a 4.21 ERA, 1.25 WHIP, only gave up 91 earned runs, which is kind of a lot compared to what he's done in the past, but also pitching a lot more as far as innings pitched than he has in the past. So we'll see what kind of pitcher he kind of turns into. We started to look at some of our younger talent here, our A potentials. O'Neal Cruz at shortstop. He's going to be a key building piece for us. I forgot Aroldis Chapman was on this team. I forgot he was still in the league. I remember when he first broke out, he was such a big name. I almost forgot he was still here. Pitching is this team's area of strength when it comes to the minor league system, though. We have a lot of good pitchers here. Paul Skenes, A potential overall. Jared Jones, A potential. Both guys under the age of 22. So some key building blocks for our starting rotation in the future. We got to kind of manage that, let these guys develop down in the minors, not calling them up too early. So that means we're going to have to battle out with maybe some older veterans up at the top, and then just kind of re-supplement. Maybe we could even use some of these guys as trade bait to go ahead and move forward with. As you see, some of our only A potential guys that we have here are in our starting rotation. But maybe some guys that we could, if we draft depth behind that, look to trade. Or maybe they might be ready. Paul is already at a 72 overall at 21 years old. He possibly could be making his rotation quick, sooner rather than later. We also got Quinn Priester here at AAA. He's a B potential prospect, 64 overall right now at 23 years old. They tried to bring him up to the majors last year. Didn't really do too well, it looks like. So we'll have to let him get some more development at AAA before he's ready to slide up. We also have a single A guy here, B potential, 21 years old, lefty, Anthony Solamento. Could be potential trade bait, or maybe even develop really nicely down at the lower levels and get up to the majors. Our relievers, so we only have like a couple of B prospects, but at least most of them are young. So an area to kind of look to rebuild. Our closers outside of our top guy are pretty bad, so we can rebuild that area. Our catchers are both very young with high potentials, both at B. So that means, anywhere in the 80s is where they could end up at. 72 overall, Henry Davis, the starter right now. And I think catcher's pretty well taken care of, though. I like what's here. Obviously last year, not too big of a year, but it's his first time coming up. He hasn't had a full year of MLB service yet. The errors are low, which is what I like too on the plate. Not really giving too many pass balls or throwing the ball into the outfield. So I love that. We have Andy Rodriguez backing him up too as well, just a year younger in case he turns out to be better. The weak points in this team, as we go ahead and highlight here, Tamar Johnson at second base, another A potential prospect, our third one on the team at 19 years old, 67 overall. We're going to keep close eyes on him and when he's ready to take over. But we have plenty of stuff in the middle. Nick Gonzalez, G1 Bay, both have B potential. Both are, well, at least Nick is a higher overall than him slightly. But where we could get better is definitely the corners. We have Ke'Bryan Hayes there at A potential, but he's kind of older. O'Neal Cruz, like I said, we already gone over the second baseman, kind of holding down the middle of the infield. But first base was pretty weak. We don't have depth at third. Outfield is pretty weak too as well. I mean, they're either old and good or they're young and bad. So we have some work to do here. I mean, we only have 4 B potential prospects at the AAA level. Double A is where all of our A potentials are, but there's only 3 of those, and then 1 B potential. And then down at single A, we just have that 1 B potential. Everybody else is at C and D, of course. So we definitely have some room to grow this roster, especially the bottom half, and get stronger. Obviously, we're going to be forced to work with what we have here in real life. I went with the most up-to-date rosters I could find, and this is it. So Mitch Keller, Marco Gonzalez, Martin Perez, Bailey Falter, and Luis Ortiz in the starting rotation. And then a bullpen that is aging, not really too many good overalls. Our lineup, I feel like, is going to be our strong suit. We have McCutchen leading off. Then going to Ke'Bryan Hayes, Brian Reynolds, O'Neal Cruz sitting at the 4 as one of our best power guys here against righties. Jack Swinsky behind him, Tellez, Taylor, Davis. And right now I got Nick Gonzalez in at my starting second base spot. So we'll see what this team is able to accomplish. Obviously not too big goals for this first season. We just kind of want to get through it as quickly as possible, mainly focus on the minors. So that's why we're looking at these top 100 prospects. You see one of our guys is at 3, Tamar Johnson at 17. We're going to be keeping eyes on these guys down at AAA and AA, following them to see if any of them get promotions. You see Jared Jones here at 43. See if anybody gets promotions. See if anybody, I don't think anybody will be probably ready to go up to the show this season. They're probably getting a whole full year down there in the minors, but see how close they get. See if anybody deserves a spot at next year's spring training and really kind of get this rebuild going. As now I love that I can see my top 20 prospects by organization. So I can look at our top 5 guys and really only our top 20 guys, but our top 5 is our cutoff for B or higher potential. Everybody else lower than that has C. So I mean, actually after Bubba Challenge, so our top 6 have B potential or better. And out of those guys, 3 of them are starters. 1's a reliever, so that means 4 of 6 are in the book are going to be pitching. The other 2 in the middle of the infield. So once again, why I say the areas of strength that we're going to have to build here, it's going to be our corners, our outfield, and I honestly do still believe the relief pitching because I do want to get another closer for when David Bednar's time to go. Maybe we can get a young closer that could step in with A potential, be young, be a closer for a long-term period, not just have to go to free agency every year to build that back up. So as we get in here, man, we're going to get into opening day to start off the brand new series. I am still figuring out some of the settings here, so you'll see me kind of mess with the cameras a little bit to get it back to where I wanted it at. I'll be mixing with the sound, so here if you do hear like the stadium noise and the commentary in the background, I had jumped to this so excited, ready to get in the game, I had forgot to adjust my sound. So you will still hear them for now. That will be taken out in later videos though, so don't worry about it. But we're taking on the Miami Marlins to get year 2023 kicked off, or 2024. That's this 2023 stats. Year 2024 kicked off. As I'm ready to go in and build this team, I'm excited, man. Enjoy the gameplay in the background. Sometimes we'll jump in and talk about it, but mostly I want to get you guys prepared for this series. It's going to be a very fun series for us where we're going to look to entirely overhaul this team. What that means is I have to go slower than I have on any rebuild with this team, I believe, because you can't just rush guys up to the majors. It's not like Madden. I can't just draft you and you be ready to start. It's not like NBA 2K. I can't just have you like in the D League for a season or just coming off the bench and ready to start. I'm going to have to rise you and let you grow at the minor league system and then get ready to take over a position up here and hope that you actually play as good as your overall or your potential. So we want to get the most out of guys, so it can take 1, 2, 3 seasons just to get a guy ready. And we only have a handful of prospects down the minors that are ready to do something anyway. So it's going to come from us drafting. It's also going to come from a good mix of free agency. Now, last year's rebuild with the Tigers, you guys haven't seen it, make sure you guys go check it out. Remember, we did kind of do that one pretty quickly. I was able to get some good free agents to match up with some good draft picks that not only we were blessed to come in with a good overall and high potential. Basically only needed like 1 season in the minors, balled out, and was ready to come up the next season. But we also drafted some guys that were MLB ready, see potential, but they came in at 72, 75 overall with good hitting ratings and good defense to step right into a playable role. And I only really had to get like 2 or 3 free agent signings, matched it up with the 2, 3 guys that were already ready, the 1 or 2 guys they had on roster at the major league level already ready. As we get a ball into the outfield, though, hold on. Pause that thought, though, as we're going to come around to our first run in the Pittsburgh Pirates series. Great plays there. That's from first to home on a double in the gap. Brian Reynolds. We talked about him earlier, potentially being a piece here for the next 3, 4 seasons, maybe even 5, depending on how good he lasts. And here today, he gets the first RBI of the series, getting McCutcheon in on home. But yeah, so it's going to take a lot of rebuilding factors here that we're kind of lucky to have with the Tigers. We'll see how much luck gets involved into this series as O'Neal Cruz gets the second run of the series. Great job there up the middle. Good job by Reynolds with the speed going from second to home. Nice clutch hitting, just chopped that one in the ground, but just hard enough to get past the pitcher to give us an early 2-0 lead here in the first. So I'm not going to go super free agency crazy. We'll talk more about that as we get closer to the postseason, but I'm not going to go super free agency crazy and, try pulling guys when the team isn't ready as a whole. Those free agency moves are going to kind of come when I think we're in our window of, okay, we need to be winning a championship here in the next, 3, 4 seasons. That'll be when we kind of pull somebody in. But until then, we're going to be chilling. We're going to bring in a couple of big names for sure. If there's some young guys that can stay around for 5+ years, then yeah, we'll bring them in. But we'll be a little bit more cautious there. Shout out to Cruz for the first on base of the series as well. But how this first year is going to go, we're going to go through it pretty quickly. We're going to get to know this team as it is now, of course, because some of these guys will be around long term, and we'll get to know who as the season goes on. Near the second half of the season, we're going to focus in on the young guys at the minor league system, see how good some of those guys are, see how their seasons have progressed, see how their overalls have progressed. We're, of course, going to focus in on that draft and the scouting. Probably the most that we ever will in the series here in this first, 1, 2, maybe even 3 seasons while we're getting the minor league prospects built up. We'll really be focusing on that scouting around that all-star game time, especially because with this team being as bad as it is, or at least supposed to be, don't shy away from the fact that we're up 2-0, but it's supposed to be, we probably might not have too much all-star hopes, but we'll see. Mitch Keller could surprise us here, bounce back from a 4.2 ERA. Give us another winning record. Give us that same strikeout rate, 27.9%. I love we get to see that in the walk rate percentage now this year instead of just strikeout per 9. But yeah, and as always, feedback is more than welcome down below. So if you guys have anything that you guys want to go over, any suggestions that you guys want to give, moves that you think should be made, call-ups, call-downs that you guys see that should be made, let it be known in the comment section. I love to get feedback from you guys about the series, interact with you guys, and let you guys help make some decisions. I mean, if y'all make good points, y'all might influence the series. Y'all might actually make a decision for me. And of course, I'm going to shout y'all. I'm not going to just act like I made it up. But if I hear good suggestions, you got good reasoning behind it, let me hear it. Now, with all of the series planning out of the way, this is the only thing that we will have here in today's video. We're just going to get into opening day, let you guys kind of meet the team, get familiar with our lineup, and at least our ace as he gets the first strikeout of the series here against Jazz Chisholm Jr. Getting him swinging, going to go take his seat down. Brian De La Cruz is up next as we go ahead and jump straight back into the gameplay. Might have more off-topic stuff to come back and talk to you guys about, but for right now, let's focus on This fly ball out to McCutcheon. Now, of course, too, I guess I should mention how I'm playing. Right now, we are working with All-Star. I am jumping back into the game. So, if things look easy, if we're not getting good games, or if I'm blowing out the other team every time I hop on the sticks, we'll jump up to Hall of Fame as I see necessary. But for right now, we are on All-Star, chilling. I'm not, the best on MLB The Show. Now, if this was Madden, I definitely have it on All Madden, but I'm not the best on MLB The Show. I kind of took a hiatus for some years, so I'm still getting used to hitting and pitching again. But we want this rating base as possible, so it will just be classic pitching and batting. No aiming directionally in the field. It's just gonna be buttons to you see there. Errant throw. Had no control over that because we want the ratings of the players to matter here, so that I'm drafting good players. I can't just draft somebody with boo-boo defense and recover with my stick skills. But this team's gonna win. It's gonna win because we drafted and got the right people, and they're making the plays themselves. Now here, this is not a good play to be making as Mitch Keller gives up a ball down the line. Throw's gonna come in. Cruz to the plate is not gonna be in time. And just like that, Josh Bell lines one down the line. Zeros. Oh, I was about to say zero speed. I was going to say that is worse than Prince Fielder. I think they even gave that man one. But zero steal, 30 speed of Josh Bell. Able to get that one down the line and tie this ball game just up for them. 2-2. That'll be Nick Gordon, their 7-hitter up next. Lining this one on the ground to Hayes. Asky Ryan will throw this one over to Delez. Great play to finally end the inning, but not before they did their damage and tied this game right back up. 2 runs, 3 hits for both sides. And that first inning was pretty tragic, going both ways. Now, of course, we're going to go through these games different ways, full games. I'm going to incorporate more because you guys really seem to like when I did do like CPU games and just kind of showed like the highlights of other teams. I'm going to incorporate that more for our team too as well. Especially these first couple seasons as we're getting through stuff and, some guys' names aren't permanently etched onto this team's future. We'll do some stuff like that to help get through games quicker, but still show off full games, still show off the guys that we want to see and help us out a little bit. So you'll see a little bit of that. You'll see player lock, of course, and then, of course, the critical situations that we went in and set up. Now, you won't see me play all of them, of course, but some of the most critical ones we will jump into. You'll see the player locks for, of course, the major league and minor league level. We're going to show minor league gameplay. You're going to see just about everything. You're going to see all of the key players, and we're going to really work on developing and getting interested into not only the series and the team and winning, but the players themselves. So here, I need y'all to get invested in Mitch Keller really quickly so he can have a better outing, as he's already gave up the 3rd run of the day to give the Marlins their first lead. And we're still not even out of this second inning here. And he's already thrown 42 pitches. As 43 is a nice slurve on the outside to get De La Cruz swinging. We come back with Luis Arraez. I do still have the pitch clock on. Now, it shouldn't obviously affect too much of anything. I mean, I don't really take my time calling pitches. The CPU doesn't really either. So, I mean, it won't really have any effect on or off. But let me know down below, guys, if you guys think that, should I turn it off or anything like that. Yeah, let me know if you guys feel like it's too gimmicky or you guys just don't want it on. But for right now, I don't see it affecting the gameplay at all. Now, you'll see it pop up there on the ticker sometimes, obviously, because I can't see it here on the back end. But you'll see it pop up from here and there as I'm taking my time, maybe thinking about a pitch. I'm trying to find a good strikeout pitch, find a good ground ball pitch, and not agreeing with my catcher. But that time, Davis does lead me to the correct answers. We get a strikeout to end the second. Jumping ahead here to the bottom of the 4th. Keller still in the game. He's only giving up 3 here, 56 pitches deep. The 3rd inning was good to him, but here in the 4th, giving up a leadoff base hit again. This time to Christian Betancourt. Garcia will be up to bat next, and he will sky this one out to McCutcheon. Shout out to Andrew McCutcheon, man. Been on this team for as my entire baseball watching career. McCutcheon's been in the league. I've seen him go from growing player to all-star MVP, cover athlete to, I don't want to say, washed or anything like that. I thought that would disrespect my man's career, but definitely growing older and probably on his way out the door here soon. This is one of the hard things about growing old, y'all. You get to see all your heroes, especially your sports heroes. You get used to them being at the peak of their talent, 99 overalls. And then one day you just wake up, open up a game, and they're 77 and throwing balls like that. That used to be an accurate pass from McCutcheon. He used to have like 80, 90 speed. Now I'm seeing a man with 72 speed throwing up ducks. And then you got Taylor out here in the outfield. I'm not sure familiar with his game as far as long-term career, but here he throws an absolute dot to the cutoff man, just a little bit slow. As the Marlins score their 5th run here of the day, Luis Arraez coming in clutch for him. And Keller is not looking like he's having a great outing here. 5 already, 72 pitches deep. We just need him to get one more out if possible before we have to start going to our bullpen. And the last man he's got to face here, if we can do it, is Jake Burger. Because I don't think we throw him out there for the 5th. I mean, it is opening day. We're still getting arms loose, so don't want him to really throw out his arm. Don't want to extremely run through my bullpen either. So we're going with long reliever Ronzi Contreras. 19 games last year, 68 in the 3rd innings, ERA almost near 7. So hopefully we get a better version of him this year as he goes in and gets kicked off against 5, 6, and 7 for the Marlins as we are still down 5-2. That ball is upstairs there. We are 1-1 count here to Bell. Four-seamer once again getting skied out. Contreras dribbles this one on the ground to Gonzalez. Easy throw over to first base with all the time in the world. And not so far. It's not so bad. Obviously want to see what the bullpen has. You know, do we have arms in here? Guys that can get, 1, 2, 3-year extensions. And a lot of these guys are old, so, probably more so on 1-year extensions. But do we have guys that can stay on this team at least for a little bit? Who knows? One thing that I've slowly learned about, the bullpen and stuff like that is this is a constant position that you have to go in free agency to go get. I mean, you can't exactly just build a bullpen through the draft. There's so many different arms, especially for somebody like me. I like to have 2 long relievers, 3 middle relievers, a setup man, and a closer. So that would be 7 people in the bullpen. Now, out of those long relievers, I wouldn't mind if one of those guys is a starter. So I guess you could take, say, like 6 guys out of the bullpen, and one of those is a closer, so 5. But I can't really go build an entire draft class of 5 relievers that are all going to be high potentials and good and, successful. So that's going to be a position that's going to constantly have to be filled through free agency. So I have to keep our eyes open on who needs to get replaced, who can get brought back, and the right timing to bring people back. As you never know when somebody's going to break out or when somebody who's broken out for a couple seasons is going to start to fall off. Now, as we finally get back to our bats, you can see why we weren't showing them too often as Trevor Rogers into the game now, as they've pulled their starter too as well after going 5 innings strong. Trying to hold down these Pirates bats here as this one's dribbled on the ground, getting right past the second baseman for yet another hit for us. Rowdy Tellez getting the 2-out rally started here for us. Michael A. Taylor 0 for 2 on the day here as he hits this one. Deep back to left field, going towards the gap. The wall, it is gone. 2-run home run to Michael Taylor. First hit, first home run of the season, series, episode, all of that in one swing. As Michael A. Taylor gets a 2-run shot to left. And Tellez is in there to score as we go ahead and come back within 1 run of this ball game. Trevor Rogers throwing that one kind of a little bit too far in over the plates. Just left it out just enough for Taylor to get around on it. And that was a long fly ball. I thought maybe, at first I thought it was going to be caught. Then I thought maybe off the wall. And then as it slowly started to get closer and closer, we slowly started to see that was actually going to leave this yard. Now, can we keep this 2-out rally going while Rogers is shook? No, we cannot. It's Henry Davis. Although with good timing on that circle change, we'll chop this one on the ground. So back to our pitching staff here as Contreras is still in the game here. Of course, our long reliever, we want him to eat up as many innings as possible so I don't have to empty out my bullpen on day 1. Jazz Chisholm Jr. back up to the top of the lineup here as he lines this one out in front of Reynolds. It'll just bounce in front of the glove. Getting a hit here to help the top of the lineup possibly try to go ahead and answer back those 2 runs they just gave up. Keep this lead at 3 for them if possible. And Brian De La Cruz quickly down 1-2. We'll watch that slider off the plate to go even it back up. And then flies this one out into the gap. Reynolds is trying to chase it down. He won't get there or be able to cut it off. Possibly, potentially, maybe a bad angle at that one. I don't know if he would have cut it off regardless. but it at least will lead to an RBI base hit or double. As De La Cruz goes ahead and scores that man Jazz Chisholm on into the plate here. And just like that, they get at least one of their runs back. And then a rise out to Reynolds yet again. It looks like he's being busy this inning, as that's going to be a throw to the plate, not in time. Reynolds got tested with 3 back-to-back balls up there. I mean, maybe could have laid out for the Chisholm one, but nothing could do with the other 2. And then here goes another fly ball out to the outfield. Jake Berger getting a base hit. Runner's going to go to third, and that throw is off the line yet again. Jeez. So every throw with Andrew McCutcheon is offline. As after a stolen base attempt, runners are at second and third now, still only 1 out. Contreras is starting to get tired here. He's almost at 40 pitches on the day. It's time to maybe think about getting somebody else up in the bullpen to maybe take over for the 7th as long as he can get out of here. As Jesus Sanchez follows up a strikeout with a 3-1 count. Nick Gordon on deck. Has a double today. Hasn't had a chance to hit with runners in scoring position just yet. But he will now. As the bases will be juiced and the Pirates go to the bullpen yet again to bring in Jose Hernandez. Decent reliever last year. 4.97 ERA is pretty bad, but when you consider the rest of the team, that probably actually was pretty good. He's going to be a strong lefty for us, hopefully, because obviously got to have some left-handed relievers to come out to do things like that. Swing and a miss there is where we're able to go ahead and end the inning and take things here now to the top of the 8th after we get out of the 6th and 7th pretty cleanly. Our bats need to wake up here as they're only going to have 6 more outs to try to go ahead and fulfill this comeback all the way. So we are still down 3 to send it to extras, 4 to take the lead back. Jack Swinsky as that ball goes all the way to the backstop. And we're going to go ahead and move the runner on up. That's O'Neal Cruz. Not a second stolen base, but he is at second base. Leading to a full count here for Jack, who's over 3 on the day. Make it over 4 as he swings over the top of that one. He'll go sit down. As Anthony Bender is in the ballgame now for the Marlins, if you guys haven't noticed. New reliever here. 2 for 2 on the day, though, for Rowdy Tellez. He's looking to make it 3 for 3 as that one is going to get over the head of the left fielder. That should be easy move-ups here at least, as we'll now have runners at the corners. Had to be safe and cautious there. Didn't know if he was going to catch it. So now to leave it up to Michael Taylor. Had the clutch home run in his last at-bat. Can he do it again? With only 1 out, a sac fly would at least give us 1 run back. Full count goes out to right field. That's going to get down in the gap. That's going to easily score home 1. Runner is going to go all the way over to third base. That's Tellez. And it's an RBI double for Michael Taylor. 2 extra base hits today. 3 RBIs out of the 5 runs he scored. And he scored 1 himself. So, it's responsible for over 60% of the runs here today. As they're going to go to their bullpen and bring in Huskar Brazoban. Let me know down below, too, if I'm butchering names. Give me correct pronunciations. We'll try to say these as best as we can in the first try, but I'm not going to get it 9 times out of 10. Just like they're not going to get us out, hopefully. Henry Davis, 0 for 3 on the day. 3-1 count. Probably could have let that slider slide, as that'll be popped up into the outfield. Way too close to even try anything here. Just trying to see if we can get an error in. Leading up to the non-hitter Nick Gonzalez, 0 for 3 on the day as well. Perfect slider on the back or the front back door. That was right on the black there that time. 0 for 1. Chop this one on the ground right to second base. It's going to be an easy flick over to first. And just like that, we were only able to recover 1 run thanks to Michael Taylor. And it'll be up to Jose Hernandez to try to keep this lead exactly where it is. Nice strike call there upstairs. We'll take the generosity. Brian De La Cruz, 1 for 3 on the day. Make it 1 for 4 as he swings and misses. Jose Hernandez is dealing here. 20 pitches through, so he's starting to get tired. He's not a long reliever. He's one of our middle relievers. So maybe around the 20 to 30 pitch count range here. But if we can just get these last 2 outs, we'll probably be done for the day unless we can manage to get 2 runs in the top half. Cruz, great throw over in the hole. That's great defense there from O'Neal Cruz. Able to capture that one up the middle and get it in play for us as they got them down to their final out. Now Jake Berger, 1 for 2. Woo! I'll take that. Great call, Lump. That one was right on the black. Honestly, I think that really was a strike, though, if we're being for real. I think we really did get that one right in on time. And they're going to go to their bullpen and bring in Tanner Scott, most likely their closer for the year, as the lefty will come in and try to shut down our last 3 outs, and that's out number 1, McCutcheon. Told you years back he might would have beat that one out with his old speed. And then Ke'Bryan Hayes here pops this one up to first base. And just like that, Scott and the Marlins are down for 1 out away, getting their first dub of the season here, and it's going to come against Brian Reynolds. 2 for 4 on the day. Can he be the hero to extend this ball game? Now that call I will take all day, every day. But of course, ball don't ever lie. Slider, good timing on it. Ends up right into the shortstop's hand, which goes to first. And the Miami Marlins will come away here with the opening day victory. So not exactly how we wanted to open up the series, but as you guys can see, I think All-Star played pretty well. Obviously, our pitching staff isn't the best, so we ended up giving up 7 runs here today as a team. Walked away with 11 hits, 5 runs. I mean, that's on most days it's going to get you a dub, but here today we just ended up giving up 15 with 7 runs for their end. So Mitch Keller will walk out of here with an L, man. Luis Arraez ends up being the player of the game for them, 4 for 5 with double and 2 RBIs. We had trouble getting that man out, but for us, Roger Chalez went 3 for 3. Taylor 2 for 4, 3 ribbies. Cruz, Brian, and Ke'Bryan all had 2 hits right through our 2, 3, and 4 spots. So shout out to them for having baller of games. Of course, Reynolds, Hayes, Taylor all got doubles. Taylor got a homer, and then RBIs from Cruz, Reynolds, and Taylor as well. Cruz getting his first stolen base, and then 10 hits and 5 earned runs going to Mitch. 5 hits, 2 earned runs going to Contreras. Got some work to do to fix those ERAs, but at least Mitch walked away with 5 strikeouts, only 1 walk. It was just the hits. We gave up way too many hits today as a team, but especially as him. And the next time out, you can see here an old Tigers legend if you guys have watched the series. If not, I'm telling y'all, go back and watch it. It was very fun, very entertaining, and ended very, very well as Jesus Luzardo, Tigers legend in our series, at least, not in real life, but Tigers legend. We're going to have to face him next week or next video as the Miami Marlins are coming back to go ahead and finish up this series. We got Marco Gonzalez on the mound for us. So if you guys are ready for more of this series, please hit the video with a like, comment, and subscribe when you guys way out. I will have more of this coming up. It'll be back regular again Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you guys are heading back over here to check that out. And I hope you guys are enjoying the channel, the videos, and are ready to see me rebuild yet another team. It's been your boy SGG, aka the King of Games, aka SmooveGotGame. And I'll catch you guys in the next Pittsburgh Pirates video, baby. MLB The Show 24 is here and here to stay. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Later.